we're in this horrible situation. We now know this, and we're not going back to the way it was, or at least that this is what we're being told. This is the new normal, and it's, well, let's just call it out. We have world leaders at the moment, three that I can mention, who are causing this. One is our own president, Biden, who is saying this is consistently saying this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, which is demonstrably at this point not true. You have Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying, "Hey, the people who aren't vaccinated, they're I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty close. They're anti-vaxxers. A lot of them are misogynists and racists." And then we have President Macron of France saying, "Hey, I want to piss off the unvaccinated." Mm-hmm. So this is licensed. And this is just as coordinated as the Build Back Better bullcrap that we kept hearing about. It's a coordinated attack on your own citizens. And so it's kind of like a message. It's like a bugle call. Like, it's okay to do this. It's okay to go after these people. And again, I think a lot of people are very fearful. They feel like it's a fight. The only way out is to condemn the unvaccinated. They're to blame. Look, that's what the president says. And it gives them a real purpose. I don't think it's this. I don't think it's anything else but that. It gives people purpose and fight, and they actually are in their hearts doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think that's a factor, but I mean, there's just been too much sanctimony on the pages of the paper and on the television, with people being so disgusted by the unvaxxed. That to me, there is a degree of sanctimony. They think they're enjoying feeling like they're better than. It's an extension of the deplorables, and saying everybody who is, a supporter of President Trump, never mind at the Capitol on January 6th, is a terrorist. And to me, nothing embodies it better than this column by Michael Hiltzik in the LA Times. Hiltzik, that we've covered this guy before. This is a guy who got in trouble. He got suspended, if I'm not mistaken.
He's a known troll.
He's a total troll. But he writes for the LA Times, and he's supposedly well respected. He's one of our elites. Don't you understand, Adam? And he was going onto his own blog. He got in trouble and posting comments onto his own blog. And then he'd go and he'd rip on conservatives on other people's blogs, but not under his real name, because he doesn't have the stones to do it.
He was fired for it.
Yeah, he was in serious trouble. And now he's finally found the stones to write under his real name, and I think he was right the first time. He should have stayed anonymous, because this moron's piece in the LA Times yesterday is basically mocking the death of what he calls anti-vaxxers. Okay, but you should be aware, he is lumping in with anti-vaxxers, not that that's okay, but he's lumping in people who are against vaccine mandates. To your point of expanding the definition, right? Like, it's not just people who don't like the vaxes. It has to be people who are anti-mandate. They're bad too. And he, and he's not alone in this, took aim at Kelly Earnby. This poor gal, I think she was 44 years old. She just died of COVID. They describe her as a prominent Orange County Republican deputy district attorney. And what was her sin? She advocated against vaccine mandates. Now we know, thanks to her husband, she was unvaxxed. We did not know that when all of the attacks launched against her. It was enough that she just was against mandates for all these newspapers to do articles about her death as though it told us something about society. That a lawyer who didn't believe in mandates had died of COVID, and somehow that meant something. What did it mean? She was wrong to oppose mandates? She should have imposed a mandate on herself? Like, what are you saying? The average 44-year-old, even unvaccinated, has a very low risk of COVID. They're going to be outliers. People understand that. And I believe the vaccines probably would have lessened her chances of death greatly. She chose not to get them. That's her choice. Now we know she didn't take the vax because her husband got online to correct the terrible misinformation being put out there about her. Some people who are anti-vaccine are saying, "Oh, she died right after she got the vaccine." That's a lie. Some people who are pro-vaccine are saying she died because she was anti-mandate. Well, no. But I'm sure not getting the vaccine, which helps prevent severe disease and death in the case of COVID, was not a great thing for her. Well, it was her choice. So this guy, Hiltzik, writes in his piece, all right, Adam, this is King Hiltzik. To begin with, let's stipulate that not all people who are unvaccinated against COVID are alike. Some have remained unvaccinated for legitimate medical reasons. They may be children for whom the COVID vaccines haven't yet been officially ruled safe, or people with genuine medical reasons for avoiding the vaccine. Some may have legitimately faced obstacles in getting to a vaccination site and receiving the full series of shots before becoming exposed to the disease. Thank you, sire. Thank you, sire, for acknowledging some of the unvaxxed are still good people. But then he goes on, and the deaths of those victims, by the way, are truly lamentable, the truly lamentable ones. But now there's going to be a distinction drawn by the king here. He says, it may be not a little ghoulish to celebrate or exult in the deaths of vaccine opponents, and it may be proper to express sympathy and solicitude to those they leave behind. But mockery is not necessarily the wrong reaction to those who publicly mocked anti-COVID measures and encouraged others to follow suit. So now just mocking any of Dr. Fauci's protocols entitles you to mockery upon your death. They can revel in your death. Before they perished of the disease, the dangers of which they belittled. She didn't do that. She didn't like mandates. So far I haven't seen evidence that Kelly belittled the dangers of the disease. Nor is it wrong, he continues, to deny them our sympathy and solicitude, again with a solicitude, or to make sure it's known when their deaths are marked that they had stood fast against measures that might have protected others from the fate they succumbed to themselves. There may be no other way to make sure that the lessons of these teachable moments are heard. What we need to do is shame the dead, unvaccinated Americans amongst us. This is sick.
Well, this kind of proves my point, what we were talking about earlier. The sin of this poor woman was not for being against mandates or not accepting the vaccination into her life. Her sin was she's a Republican. And let's go back and look at the source. The source, as I said, a known troll, admitted he was fired for 3 years. The Times hired him back eventually. LA Times, I find, has problems in general. They've had intelligence assets who were reporting and writing for them, and they've been outed in recent years. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. But this guy, who has written several books, I would say, with a globalist tint about how fantastic, the robber barons and how the railroads were built. But he's a political reporter. So he's doing exactly what his beat is. This is a political story. You could have many different people. You could use any examples you want, but he chooses this one, and he takes it straight to politics throughout the article. And I don't think neither am I, but he's not qualified to talk about the medical aspects of it. But half of the article is more facts and data, etc. And unfortunately, the real cynical part of this is exactly what we're seeing unfold before our very eyes. He is following orders from his leaders, and in this case, let's just say it's the president, but I'm sure it goes all the way down, and this is the message. The message is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We need to do everything we can to make that very, very clear. They are to blame. And it's a global rollout.